India's neighbor, latest developments coming in from Pakistan, where a protester has filed a review petition challenging the Supreme Court order, remember, that acquitted Christian woman Asia Bibi. Remember, Asia Bibi was accused of blasphemy and had been on a death row. The country's top court had acquitted Asia Bibi earlier. Islamists and hardliners are protesting in several parts of the country, including Karachi and the capital Islamabad. But this is the latest development. Pakistan's Human Rights Minister Shireen Mazari clarified that the government has not challenged the Supreme Court order, but a protester has filed a review petition in the country's Supreme Court. It is also learned that Imran Khan's government has taken into confidence the opposition parties as protesters refuse to budge. That's the current situation. And in the midst of that volatility, a review petition has been filed by a protester. Let's get in further details from our Pakistan Bureau Chief Anas Malik, joining us live from Islamabad at this point. Anas, get us a better sense of what that petition that's been filed by the protester really states. On what grounds has that petition been filed?
Well, yes, Molly, the latest on the Asia Bibi case is just since yesterday it has been ongoing and Pakistan has been seeing a lot of protests. Practically, the country came to a standstill with the protest of the right-wingers. Now, the latest development that came in was that the fact that there are 3 lawyers who filed a review petition on behalf of one of the common citizens, as what it claims, and they've filed petition on the basis of the Article 295C, making the basis that Asia Bibi had allegedly admitted of committing blasphemy in front of a jirga of a local panchayat, and based on that she should be hanged. And the fact that Supreme Court's decision of her honorable acquittal is not in line with the rulings of Quran and Sunnah. Now, we've seen a lot of speculations with regards to that petition, primarily because first things first, the Information Minister of Punjab, Fayaz Hassan Chauhan, he went on to say that a review petition has been filed, but he did not clarify on who actually did so. So that raised a lot of questions and arguments, and eventually the Human Rights Minister and the Information Minister Shireen Mazari and Fawad Chaudhry, they put out separate statements clarifying the federal government's position on it. The petitioner has also further went on to maintain that Asia Bibi should be put on the exit control list, barring her from going abroad until the final decision is done on the review petition. So we're yet to see if the Supreme Court would actually be admitting the review petition for a hearing or not, because the courts have been called off now. The formal filing before the registrar would be done tomorrow, and as and when the updates come, then only one can actually determine where the buck settles. Yes, Molly.
Right, and Anas, it's interesting how the government felt the need to clarify that they were in no way involved when it comes to this review petition that has been filed, but also give us a sense of the protests that continue to engulf Pakistan throughout the day, yesterday and today as well, and what measures the government is planning to take, as the Prime Minister yesterday had guaranteed that the authorities will intervene if the situation arises.
Well, Molly, there hasn't been much that has been done on the part of the government or state to enforce the writ of state. The Prime Minister made statements yesterday that no one would be allowed to hinder traffic even. But what we saw, we went to one of the protest sites at Faizabad here in Islamabad, and the situation there was very, very alarming. There are armed protesters out there. They won't let anybody cover. They have batons, they have steel rods, and they have firearms as well. I can say that because we were there, we were harassed, we escaped thrashing, almost escaped a thrashing, because we were stopped twice, barring the media as well from coverage. So the government needs to act. They're there on the main interchange of that connects Islamabad and Rawalpindi, the main very famous Faizabad interchange. So practically the people commuting from Rawalpindi to Islamabad are currently in a jeopardy, because this is that main interchange, and they would have to take all the all the way another 40-kilometer down route in order to get to Islamabad. So that is what the current state of the protesters is. If we go into Lahore, the protests continue in the same manner. There were, however, the number of protests in Lahore, the small protests, they've actually jumbled up and collided into one big protest. And currently, there's the biggest protest that is ongoing in Lahore is at in front of the Punjab Assembly at Mall Road, which is again one of the very famous roads of Lahore. The second protest that is in Lahore is at Thokar Niaz Beg, that is the intersection that connects Lahore to the outer side, the outer world, and the motorway onwards. Similarly, in Karachi, the protest is ongoing at 13 different locations. We saw violent protests yesterday in Karachi. Last night, about 2 protesters lost their life as well. They went on and they had a scuffle with the Shia community in New Karachi area, and 2 protesters lost their life. But if we try to analyze the situation, the government is nowhere to be seen, because Imran Khan had very clearly said that if anybody tries to challenge the writ of the state, then the state would come into action. But we're yet to see the action being implemented. One thing that has to do with that as well, because the opposition parties, there has been greater pressure from the opposition parties as well with regards to a probable operation against these protesters. Yes,
right. And right before we let you go, Anas, help our viewers understand why the government would feel the need to clarify that it did not file that review petition, given that so many questions are already being raised over the government's role in clamping down on the protesters.
Well, again, because Imran Khan has been in hot waters, and he's somebody who's known for taking U-turns, who's known for backtracking from his own statements, and this wouldn't be the first time. Perhaps that is the reason that there was the dire need for the government ministers to go out in public and clarify. As I said, Sheri Mazari, the Minister of Human Rights, and Fawad Chaudhary, the Minister for Information, they put out separate statements clarifying that the government has nothing to do with this. What we can confirm is, and what our sources tell, that the government is all set to take action, but it's upon the pressure of the opposition and some right-wingers within the Imran Khan cabinet, upon which the Imran Khan himself is compelled to talk and rethink about a decision on to take whether or not to take the protesters head on. And that is one of the reasons that the PTI government has formed a committee, and they went on, they contacted the opposition, they met the opposition parties in the opposition leaders' chamber today at the parliament, and the opposition parties have appointed a focal person. So whatever that has to be done, in coordination with the opposition parties as well. We saw a lot of speeches in the National Assembly today, the key speech being that from Sayyid Khurshid Shah, the former leader of the opposition during the Nawaz Sharif tenure. He's from the Pakistan People's Party, and he condemned, quote unquote, he condemned the speech of the Pakistani Prime Minister, saying that action should not be taken against those protesters because those are Pakistanis as well. But on the contrary, the chairman of the Pakistan People's Party, he went on and he took a very bold stance. Bilawal Bhutto, he said that we stand by rule of law. So clearly there is a division between the opposition themselves, and that is what is forcing the PTI government to not to take action in a hurry, because they would not want to create another political crisis, just given the fact that it's just been 80 days they've been into power. Roughly 80 days they've been into power. Yes, Molly.
All right, we're going to leave it there for the moment. Anas Malik helping us better understand what the situation is like in Islamabad. We're going to leave it there for the moment. Thanks very much for bringing us those details. A review petition now has been filed by a protester which challenges the Supreme Court of Pakistan's verdict in the Asia Bibi case. We'll, of course, keep a close eye on those developments as they pan out. But staying with Pakistan, Prime Minister Imran Khan is on a borrowing spree. He took billions from Saudi Arabia, made a fervent appeal to the International Monetary Fund as well, and now he is eyeing China. He is leaving no stone unturned before he makes that trip to China in praising the country. In fact, Imran Khan has said that the people of Pakistan look up to China, and Imran Khan believes China's model can help Pakistan fight poverty and corruption.
For Pakistan, a country that has enormous potential, but unfortunately through mismanagement, we have not really achieved that potential. Through poor governance, corruption being one of the main reasons. Corruption is always a reason which stops a country from achieving its potential. And now we have a lot to learn from China. because China went through a lot of problems which we face right now. China too had a lot of corruption. China had a lot of poverty. But the way China has dealt with both corruption as well as reducing poverty has been an example for not just Pakistan, but actually for a lot of the developing world. And we can learn more from China because China has recently developed, as opposed to the Western economies which have been developed, for a long time. I mean, they're way ahead of us. Recently, with the CPEC, it has given a great opportunity for Pakistan to bring in foreign investment, to get out of the difficult economic situation which we are in. We feel that this is a great opportunity. When we talk about Pakistan-Chinese relationship, it's the oldest relationship between Pakistan with any other country. China is the oldest relationship. And since I'm almost as old as Pakistan, I know how the relationship has evolved. So if there's one relationship which people of Pakistan have always felt that in our times of need, we can depend on one country, China has always been that country. So we have a very special relationship with China. The people of Pakistan have always looked upon China very positively as a friend.